The MoneroTopia Price Report segment is sponsored by Exolix, a privacy-focused, non-custodial instant crypto exchange. Go to exolix.com to enjoy secure and completely anonymous swaps with no KYC or sign-up. Swap between Monero and 2,000 plus assets at the most competitive rates and with no limits. Exolix.com, your fast and secure way to privacy.
All right, we got Body Exolix. We don't talk enough about them. They've been a great sponsor for this show and for the conference as well. So we always appreciate them. And I think these instant exchanges are kind of more relevant than ever. Monero, we saw what was the one that went down?
Trade Ogre.
Trade Ogre. I never used Trade Ogre. Obviously, I would go on there, check out the prices of things. I actually never went out, but it had become quite popular. With Trade Ogre down, I feel like these instant exchanges are more relevant. We don't have a really fluid DEX yet, right? We have Sarai. We're waiting for. You can do things with things like basic swap, but you have Avino, but we don't have the feel of an instant exchange that's decentralized yet. That product does not exist yet. So these instant exchanges, I feel like, are more relevant than ever.
Yeah, ReToswap does have 10,000 total trades now, though. They just hit that today.
Awesome. Yeah, everything seems to be coalescing around ReToswap. I bet that starts to take up more and more volume. I mean, for as long as the instant swap exchanges exist, they're going to get used quite a lot. But I'm glad to see Reto finally starting to put up some numbers.
And those instant exchanges are reliant on the exchanges that they get their liquidity from, right? They're like, they're getting that Monero from somewhere, right? So if we see any more delistings on any major exchanges, they'll start to get affected as well.
Well, Kraken did delist Monero in Canada, so that affected coin cards. I know,
exactly. That's what I'm alluding to.
Yeah. So. Yeah, Kraken's been kind of shady overall for the past couple weeks.
Like shit, man. If Kraken were to delist Monero, I think some of those instant exchanges won't even exist anymore.
I think you better expect it to happen. I mean, they did it in Europe. They did it in Canada. The next thing is going to be the U.S. I don't know if they'll do it state by state.
I don't think so. I don't know. Maybe
if Jay Powell was in charge, if Jesse was in charge, then I don't think they would. But they had a whole change of leadership, so who knows?
Do you know who's leading it now?
I don't know who the new CEO is, but it's definitely not Jesse Powell.
I mean, they've never wanted to associate with us, which was always like straight, like, hey man, we want to like promote you or whatever. You're a big exchange, like, the biggest, the most liquidity of Monero is going through like a Kraken, right? And it's kind of interesting, they're like, yeah, but we don't make a thing about it.
That's smart on their part, actually. They're just like laying low. They don't want to. They don't want to take a side. They don't want to like get behind some particular podcast. They just want to stay as neutral as possible. I could see that. That's probably what I would do too, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, it all comes down to where does the Trump administration really stand, right? Like, so,
I don't think it's about the administration at this point. If it was, they would have already delisted Monero. Like there's how many years has it been that they could have delisted Monero and everyone else was, and they haven't yet. So I don't think it has anything to do with politics at this point. I think it's almost entirely a corporate business decision internally. Now, that's not to say that.
Yeah, but I'm saying if they start to get more pressure, right? If they start to get more pressure, like let's say like Palantir's like, hey, Trump, our services would work a lot better if this Monero thing didn't exist. By the way, okay, let me go turn that off.
I mean, that could change, obviously, but if they survived the what did we call it, choke point 2.0, right? If Monero survived choke point 2.0 on Kraken after all this time, it's difficult to think that like the Trump regime is just going to come in and like suddenly change that. Now, maybe some other political regime could come into power, but that's going to be harder and harder as time goes forward, just because like a lot of this is now getting solidified into the law, into legislation, and you know, it's becoming pretty clear that like crypto is like absolutely beyond question legal in many different forms. So it's very difficult to think that like the regulatory pressure is going to push them against Monero. If there is pressure, it's going to be more so business pressure and or deep state pressure, like hidden nefarious kind of stuff. But it's not going to be. I doubt it's going to be at the regulator level at this point if it gets delisted.
I agree. I mean, yeah, that's why I that's why I I do have faith that it won't get delisted on Kraken for that reason. I think things are, we're in a better position right now from a regulatory standpoint. So,
yeah,
yeah, we shall see. Like we're talking about, maybe they get rid of the bit license in New York and things like that. So, I do think we're at a low point in terms of how bad things will get for Monero, and they'll only get better from a regulatory standpoint. Is my personal take on things. Obviously, things can change over. Yeah, we get some new administration in, things could start to swing back, but current trajectory. Body man, what's going on with price? I looks like we've been slowly making a comeback here as the FUD's getting dispelled. Other cryptos getting threatened with cubic attacks. What's going on, man? Is Monero back in action?
I mean it stopped where we kind of expected there would be a good support area. It's come back some, not massively, not to where we were, but we're still above the that sort of long running 250 area, that $240 area where things took a while to break out from there. So we're still above that. It's not entirely terrible price action to break out and then come back down and test something, especially like in the worst case, narrative news scenario. And then if we make a full comeback to like 300, 350, then we should be good to go to like 500. So, but we'll have to wait and see on that. The crypto isn't exactly doing tip top at the moment, but it's nothing's in trouble either.
Well, Ethereum's been doing fantastic. What's that all about? That's because they've talked about like companies doing what Sailor was doing, but with Ethereum, right? That's kind of part of the catalyst?
Probably, I guess. I mean, Ethereum's more useful than Bitcoin. It's really just as simple as that. Like there's
if you actually there's recent catalyst. It seems like there's some recent catalysts like that.
I haven't been paying too much attention to that, but I have heard some of the news or some of the rumblings of corporate treasuries doing Ethereum as well. That's probably, honestly, it's really probably just a matter of time until Ethereum's, really gains parity with Bitcoin in a lot of different ways. Potentially market cap, but in other ways too. It's just like if you're a corporate treasury or you're a corporation, a company, etc., like the entire monetary system is an integrated unit that depends on things like interests and contracts and swaps and bonds and all this stuff, right? And Bitcoin can't do any of that. And the only ways it can do that is through these like very convoluted means that nobody uses and isn't tested. Like, what are you going to do if you're a company? You're just going to use Ethereum if you want to use some sort of like mildly complex contract to do something. And so at some point, if the trend continues that companies start very slowly adopting this, we're not talking this bull market, we're talking like in the next 10 years, right? Next 20 years. Then ultimately it's going to swing towards Ethereum. It has to. And because if we want to talk about network effects, right? Like that was the whole proposition of Maxis, right? The network effects. You can't overcome a network effects. Like, well, okay, then Bitcoin can't overcome dollars network effects in that case, but whatever, putting silliness aside, the simple fact is that because Ethereum is significantly more programmable and usable, corporations are eventually, if they're going to adopt crypto, they're eventually going to move into something more like Ethereum than Bitcoin. Maybe it'll be something else. I don't know. Maybe it'll be AVAX, but the cards, the chips are largely in place, right? The cards have largely been dealt. Like, yeah, we still got the turn in the river that needs to hit, but we kind of have a pretty good idea of what things are looking like for crypto. And from here, it's just the slow game, right? Things are just going to slowly get built out.
Yeah. It's one of the protocols that's here to stay, right? Yeah, Bitcoin, Ethereum is the Bitcoin of smart contracts. Like it's here to stay. You're gonna have these other competitors that do stuff a little differently, but I don't think they're ever going to overtake Ethereum.
Yeah, I mean, it's got the market cap, it's got the network effects. They've done a lot of work to actually do some reasonable kind of scaling on layer 2s. Whereas Bitcoin is just, it's behind in every way. Like the only thing you would do with Bitcoin is just hold it just because everyone else holds it, you know. And at some point, that kind of logic starts to get harder and harder in the face of something like Ethereum, where you have this usability and you're like, oh, we could just directly swap on-chain trustlessly into dollars or into whatever else it is that you want.
Right, and people easily staking it, and that's all going to drive price up as well. But Monero, we do have Monero treasury company, MoneroTopia LLC. We keep our treasuries all in Monero. I don't know. We got to go public. We got to take MoneroTopia LLC public, and then we could just turn it into.
Yeah, man. Let's take some fiat loans and buy Monero with it. Let's leverage the fiat system to pump Monero.
Let's do it, man.
And then claim
Figure
that
was live on the show. I'm down. Just tell me what I got to do.
Yeah, I mean,
all right, buddy. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
No.
I was gonna say I'll let you take it away. I'll let you take it away with price.
Cool. Yeah, I should be sharing, hopefully.
All right. Oh, let me pull up your screen. Wait, what? Oh.
All right. So we got infinite regression going on. Sounds like a very fancy mathematical term. All right. Yeah. So here's the Monero price in front of us. And like we talked about just a second ago, we effectively hit these blue bands, right? And that was also convergent with our obviously with our 245 level, right? We kind of came up here and we spent some time, for months. I was like, nah, not yet. And then, finally it was time for us to break out. It was going to happen. We don't know exactly what was going to make it happen, beforehand, but we knew that it looked like it was starting to set up for that. And then we just, all we've done here is retest that level. And this makes a lot of sense. Like if you put aside and ignore for a second the bull market, right? And alt season and all the stars and dollar signs people are seeing in their eyes. If we ignore that for just a moment and we say, okay, just in terms of like regular price action, this is good. Like this isn't terrible price action, right? This is exactly the kind of like steps higher that you want to see. Don't get me wrong. Our price without the kind of suppression and fractional reserve that we've seen over the years should be easily like $1,000 or higher. And if Monero was treated like they treat other coins, falsely pumped and propped up, Monero would be thousands of dollars right now. We'd be a top 5 market cap. But that's the forces we're dealing with, right? Like there's nothing we can do about that. There's not much we can do about that. And Kraken has been shut down. They shut down withdrawals recently, and they shut down deposits recently, and they were down for like 36 hours. I haven't checked this morning if they reopened that. There was a Reddit post, and Monero Foxes actually still keeps track of a lot of that. So I appreciate his work. Tip of the hat to Monero Fox, who actually was a big part of helping us figure out that the fractional reserve was taking place. So speaking of fractional reserve and price divergences, right now, everything has, in terms of the percent divergence to Kraken, which is what this chart shows us, it's a question now if that's actually relevant, because if Kraken shut down withdrawals and if Kraken is fractionally reserved, I'm not saying that they are, but they have been acting fucking shady lately. So guys, come on, like we need better from you guys. Kraken, I used an instant swap exchanger very recently, and it went through quickly. And so Kraken, like if you need to like increase the number of confirmations before you pay people Monero or before you confirm that their Monero was deposited onto your exchange, that's understandable. And that's what you guys have done with other coins in the past.
720? That seems ridiculous.
Is that their confirmations?
Yes, they'd say 1 day, and that's 720 blocks. It's like, okay, the default is 10. I could understand increasing it, but Jesus, that's a lot.
Yeah, that's a great. See, that's exactly what I'm talking about, man. That's ridiculous. To increase it to that level is a significant overreaction, and it's difficult for me to believe that that's not a calculated overreaction. And it's difficult to believe that their delisting in Canada at this moment isn't also calculated. So I have both of my eyebrows raised. Jesse Ventura, not Jesse Ventura. Fuck. I forget it. I was gonna make a reference. Too late. Yeah, I've got both my eyebrows raised at those guys at this moment. I wish that Jesse Powell would. I wish he was still in charge. Right? He seemed. I believed Jesse Powell was for real. You know what I mean? So I guess we'll just have to wait and see. You know, here. But regardless, you know, they didn't like. There was still a pretty significant divergence up to 14%. That's fucking huge. These scumbag exchanges, every single name here on the right, just think scumbag, 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 belong in jail. I don't know how they're not in jail, right? Like every single one of these guys, right? They diverge 15%. And this is the exact same thing that we saw last time in the last bull market. It's interesting, though, if you think about it, that we haven't seen a massive bull market, right? Like, yes, Bitcoin is a new all-time highs and Ethereum set new all-time highs, but we haven't seen a massive alt season. And they're attacking Monero with this kind of ferocity, right? They're attacking with this kind of bullshit. And the crypto market still hasn't really, really, truly taken off. That's not congruent to mad gains, guys, is what I'm getting at. Like, I'm not saying we won't have gains, and I'm not saying that new all-time highs won't be made in altcoins. But that's not super great from the perspective of asking ourselves, you know, like this is the kind of attack you would want to see when altcoins have like 2x and 3x their market cap, you know, not not just starting to get back to their all-time highs from 2021. But okay. Again, you know, it's diminishing returns. I think crypto is it 3 trillion? Let's check it out. Let's go over here to total 3. Yeah, so to the point, total 3 is crypto market cap without Bitcoin and Ethereum. And you'll notice, it's at new all-time highs, right? It is sitting there at that 2021 level, but it's not, we haven't really truly broken out. You know, Bitcoin is already about 2x from its previous all-time high. Ethereum is now solidly into new all-time highs, and total 3 is still kind of like just lagging behind. Now, this chart is bullish, right? Don't get me wrong. Total 3, basically, again, everything except for Bitcoin and Ethereum. Total 3 is at $1 trillion, and this thing is looking bullish, and they're printing new money every day. So this thing will go higher. It is setting up bullish, but it's just probably not going to be at the levels that we've seen. You know, we're not going to get the kind of crazy mad gains that we've seen before across the board. And that's probably a good thing, guys. Like, I mean, there's just too much bullshit out there, right? Let's see, crypto at total market cap at $4 trillion, right? That's a pretty big number, right? $4 trillion of crypto market cap. And again, this chart is also bullish. In fact, this chart is more bullish than Bitcoin. Let's scroll back a little bit just so that you can get a feel for, you know, the total bull market here happening. Yeah, I mean, you can see that effectively. So see these blue lines right here? These blue lines are the blow off, the standard deviation coming down from the blow off back in 2021 and getting above those lines, right? And then setting that as your kind of floor, right? That gives you your channel to travel in. So you've got kind of these purple bands, and this right here is our channel, right? This whole thing right here is our bull market channel. And even though we're not going to get the kind of crazy mad gains that we have gotten in the past, I do think there's a good possibility that the bull market might be able to continue for longer, right? Without having like this crazy blow off cycles and, you know, crazy dumping, right? Like we could actually get just kind of reasonably steady continuation to the top side for as long as we don't have a macro crash on the table. And right now there's no macro crash on the table. So the patterns, they all still there, you know, they still there, but the patterns are all still there, but it's not time yet, right? So yeah, let's take a look at Bitcoin here. You can see Bitcoin, it's still bullish, just not as bullish as total at the moment. So that's why I've been telling you guys for the past few weeks, it is alt season. It is time to expect alts to outperform. Bitcoin could very well just kind of like trend and chop for a little bit while altcoins sort of do play a little catch up, which Ethereum has been doing lately. But, you know, again, this is still a bullish chart. Right now, you would say, hey, this is a good support level, right? In a broader sense. And to believe that we're going to have a nice, strong bull market, you would want that level to hold, right? This is the level you would want to put a support there and then continue going up, right? Meandering higher. And, you know, gently positive action is actually far better for sustained price gains than insta pump, right? Than mega pump, than dollar signs in your eyes. You'll actually get more gains better over longer periods of time. Typically, it all depends, right? Like half of you don't know how to hang on to your money, and crypto's going to crash and you're going to need to sell it because you don't have a job and you're fucking just staying in hostels and I don't know, smoking weed and doing psychedelics all day, and then you have to sell your money for I don't know, to live, right? You have to sell your crypto to live. So half of you, it's just better that price doesn't have these crazy smash higher gains because you don't know when to sell and but anyways, but half of you do know what to do with your money. And so in which case volatility actually does help you because you just hang on to it. You never sell it. And so volatility actually ends up helping you over the time span of many years because volatility implies faster gains. It really does. Okay, but anyways, enough insulting the audience. Sorry, guys. Hey, but some of you guys out there, not all of you. Anyways, just playing, guys. It's all right. So yeah, here's the altcoin market cap. Right, like I said, hey, we've got an altcoin season, and you can see it very clearly. This is the weekly, and things have continued to move towards the downside. In other words, altcoins gaining on Bitcoin. Right, we're now at 58% dominance. That's still, God, I remember when 58% dominance was like, no, it's not going to happen. I didn't want it to happen, and I didn't want to listen to the wave magic. But hey, I mean, this line, once you start kicking off this kind of bullish action, it's a foregone conclusion that you're going to reach the upper standard deviation. That's just a chart exploring its boundaries. That's just natural action. So yeah, I probably should have looked at this chart, and because for a long time I said, well, I don't have an opinion on it, and that's because I guess I didn't want to have an opinion on it. So your emotional state can get to you. Like I didn't want this line to be the fucking place that we were going to stop out at finally, before alts made a comeback. But you got to look backwards and say, hey, where could I have made? Because I didn't exactly make a call on this chart, but I could and should have. Right, this dominance chart was going to 60, and I should have known that. So, anyways, all right. So that's crypto. Maybe let's take a look really quick here at the Z scores on all the altcoins, and nothing really special happening here except for Monero kind of making a comeback. But I mean, again, it's funny too. I also have to stop and ask myself, is this a preparation so that they could do this later on? You know what I mean? Like, because we actually saw that in 2020. In fact, we'll just go back to Monero here, and I'll show you guys what happened in 2020. We'll go to the XMR.D. So before the bull market kicked off, immediately before the bull market kicked off in earnest, and that we knew that altcoins were going to go, Monero's dominance took made a big spike. Right, Monero's dominance went up. Let's just do a measurement there. Can I? Am I capable? Monero's dominance went up 64% in the fall. And then they kicked off the fractional reserve and started like opening a bunch of shorts against Monero. That's when they really kicked off selling Monero that they didn't have. And then the altcoin season really, busted out. And so we kind of saw a similar pattern here where Monero's dominance kicked off. Like we had a big movement upwards in Monero dominance. And my thinking is that's them actually acquiring Monero ahead of time so that they can dump it on the market later. Now it's speculative, but it's completely within the modus operandi for how these scumbags operate. And they are scumbags, and they do prop up their shitcoin prices. Like I told you guys before, they are probably propping up the cubic price to incentivize hash rate into cubic so that people can get paid, so that hash rate can get paid basically 2x what they would get paid as just mining Monero. So they prop up that price. And yes, that is an expense they have to pay, but it's an expense that is justified for them because now they can get everybody saying, oh shit, fearful of Monero, not going to buy Monero. They're going to go buy some other shitcoin. So that cubic payment, what they're doing there by propping up that price and overpaying for mining is them two things. One, they're going to be able to make up their deficits eventually and be able to reopen withdrawals from Monero eventually. But they're also, again, they can, with the social thing, like it's a very coordinated campaign. It's much more, what they're doing this time is much more sophisticated than what they did last time. So anyways, that's really what's going on, guys. Like, can I prove it, right? Can I go to court and, make a case? No, but I'm telling you that is what is fucking happening. They are propping up Cubic to incentivize hash rate so that they can do a selfish mining attack, put out bullshit, and then scare everybody as they pump their altcoin season. That is literally what has happened. And hey, I'm sorry. That's just circumstantially too many things for me to think that's not what happened. Also, there's a big question about Trade Ogre. And I also have big questions about Pirate Chain. Trade Ogre goes down. Monero gets selfish mining attacked and socially attacked. And at that exact moment is when Pirate Chain pumps 150%. Something's not right there, guys. Something smells rat in this chart and timing of what happened here. I don't have any specific accusations against anyone, whether it be Trade Ogre or the Pirate Chain guys. I don't know. But that's you have a coin that's performing absolute shit, that's setting lower lows, even in the face of a new altcoin season, and then suddenly makes this miraculous pump right as like one of the primary places that it's traded shuts down, and right as Monero gets attacked. Like, please. So I don't know what's going on there, guys, but this only makes me even more negative than I have been on Pirate Chain. I'm going to say it live on air. Fuck Pirate Chain at this point. Like, you can make your own conclusions about who or what, because I honestly don't know with those guys. But, and I'm not saying all the Pirate Chain people are bad guys. There are plenty of good people in Pirate, but whoever's behind this there's something nefarious behind this, guys. Like, it's just as simple as that. Sorry if that pisses you off, but there's too much circumstantial stuff happening here to just think that this is mere coincidence. It's not. All right. Let's see. Oh, there's Tron. I don't know why I always keep Tron pulled up. I think TradingView, I pulled it up once, and I think TradingView just likes to keep it here forever. All right, let's look at Ethereum, actually. Let's just quickly, because Ethereum's been performing. So here's, yeah. What's up?
No, I don't want to draw too much attention to what you're saying, to what you're talking about. I mean, I don't want to cause drama. But what do you think? Like, what's the potential conspiracy here?
I don't know. I haven't thought through too much, hardly at all. I just know that I met one of the Pirate Chain guys, like one of the actual devs once, and I was kind of like, really? So I didn't get the good vibes there. But it wasn't like anything that I could nothing that I would make a judgment on. I'd just be like, well, it's a data point, and I tuck it away in my head. So I have no idea, man. That's what I'm saying. I'm literally, it's not that I'm like hiding I think someone in this organization, etc. I honestly have no clue. I just know that is way too suspicious to think that's nothing, that's just coincidence. So they just happened to pump 150% at the exact moment that all this bullshit started unfolding. Like, it's really difficult for me to think that. So I don't know. People can do their own investigation or make their own speculations. But I just don't know much about Pirate Chain or who's behind it to really make anything to really know.
I mean, it could be as simple as people that want to pump Pirate Chain, just seeing that as a good time to try to pump it because they see weakness in Monero, right? Like trying to be vultures, like, oh, Pirate's now relevant, right? Because Monero's broken. And maybe they just falsely tried to pump it themselves and bring momentum in, I mean, who knows?
I mean, maybe it's as simple as that, right? Maybe it's as simple as an opportunistic mindset, but at the same time, it's also like, well, one of the main places that people trade that coin got just completely just disappeared. We couldn't even say exit.
How is that affecting all these? I mean, how are you seeing that affecting all the the cryptos that were traded there? Are we seeing? I mean, it's hard to.
I don't think it's honestly I don't think that Trade Ogre was. They every time I got on there, their volume was crap. There was no volume there, so it's hard for me to think that such a low volume place is actually having any real effect on crypto prices. Now, whatever they were holding that they absconded with, now that might have, maybe that's a factor.
And you would think a majority of that was probably Monero. You would think.
Yeah, I mean, you would think at least privacy coins in general, but also Pirate Chain, right? Right. If it was Monero and Pirate Chain, you would think, hey, if they absconded with a bunch of Pirate, and they're selling that, then you kind of expect the Pirate price to be to the negative. But Pirate Chain, listen, it's a scumbag move to ASIC mine 90% of the coin in the course of 2 years, and then pretend like you're this fair, it's Zcash vibes, right? Oh, hey, we're gonna take a 20%, 25% dev tax, right? It's at least Zcash produces something, right? At least they produce research, and I can give them respect for that, even if I don't like the corporate nature of the coin. But Pirate Chain just mined a shitload of supply right up front, and then told everyone, "Hey, come buy our coin." It's nah. So and then this kind of shit happens. It's it's scumbag vibes. It's come on, guys. No.
Yeah. Just remember, guys, not your keys, not your coins. Use an exchange as a public restroom. You get in, you do your business, and you get the fuck out.
Yep.
I like that.
All right. Well, let's take a look at the macro, and then I'll let you guys. We can get back to the more important discussions about tech and whatnot. All right, so we got dollar index stable, right? We said we just want the macro to be stable, and we can trust that things are going to continue on towards the upside overall. So oil also stable. Kind of made a little bit of downside here this week down to the 61 area, but still within a range that's not a problem for the general markets to keep going. We could take a look at the reverse repos, which I haven't looked at all week, and they are doing. Oh my God, they reached zero. They basically reached zero, right? 23 billion is nothing, chump change. So 20 billion came down. There's not much more juice to be squeezed out of the reverse repos in terms of being able to take sort of stored energy and dump that into risk markets, which is one of the factors, like this was a big, and I know we talk about this a lot, but this was one of the big factors of we were saying, hey, the bull market is starting, the reverse repos increased significantly, and now they are coming down, and this money is going to go somewhere, probably risk, and that's going to pump risk markets. So as this came down, we were able to say, yep, there's more juice to squeeze here. Right now, there is not more juice to squeeze there, but that doesn't mean that there's not other places that they can print money and get money to continue pumping the markets. So
isn't it likely Jay Powell's going to turn on a money printer in like September?
Yeah, they talked about that. Apparently, they've been talking about lowering rates. Actually, when they start lowering rates is when I start getting worried again about the macro, because that's actually correlated with tops and markets. Believe it or not, they can start lowering rates and sort of continue to float markets for a period of time on that basis. But typically, that signals the beginning of the end. So of a cycle. So yeah, we'll wait and see. Everyone, there was like a big noise made, like, oh, the inflation or something, but I didn't think it was really anything significant. Nothing changed, right? So until something actually changes, I don't think it's really anything to worry about. All right, gold is actually, again, the longer that it continues to consolidate at this level, it's kind of two things. It signals that gold has strength to actually maintain at the 3,000 level, but it also signals like, well, hey, when are you going to break out, right? And the longer that markets continue to go up while gold continues to go sideways, that's more time that people might get antsy and say, well, let me go into the stock market just a little bit, right? It's gaining more. Well, let me sell a little bit more, right? So it's possible that, honestly, at this point, I don't have a good solid opinion about where gold is going to go from here. The fact that it's taken so long to actually try and break out a little bit higher kind of makes me think that it's, knowing the way that the gold chart moves, it's likely we're going to get a spike down before we get a spike up, if such a thing happens. So I'm probably would be in the favor slightly of gold taking a little bit of a dip here at some point, maybe not this week, maybe not this month, but before it breaks out, I maybe a washout wick, basically, right? A quick wick down. Stock markets had a little bit of negative pressure this week, but then came back at the end. So basically made another all-time high. Close to another all-time high. And then the China markets, actually, believe it or not, China did quite well. The Chinese market looks like it's trying to break out here. So China has been, the Shanghai index has been like just sideways for a very long period of time. So yeah, I guess Chinese stockholders are happy. And we'll take a quick look at bonds, right? So here's the rates, right? Flat. Still flat. Jay Powell is going to keep this thing flat until September, I guess. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, when you see this step down, right? When you see this thing starting to step down, that's when you start to ask yourself if the show is over, or if the final act is commencing before some new like crash scenario happens. But for now, again, it's everything's stable, macro stable. So for now, the name of the game is continued gains. So yeah, don't get antsy if you're on a dip on your altcoins or on your other investments, whatever. Things are still fine. Yeah, no economic numbers that matter. Yep. All right, guys, that's the price report. Oh, wait, one more thing. We got our hash rate, looking at our hashes, gigahashes, and then obviously our transactions per day is probably, let me guess, yep, 20,000, 25,000, where it's been the whole time. So, all right, guys, that's the price report.
All right. Thank you, buddy. Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you filling in with the co-host. I guess we lost Doug, huh?
I am here.
Ah, okay.
I had to step away for a second, but I was listening in. What is the in terms of hash rate? Are we seeing sustained all-time highs?
Yeah, basically. That's what it looks like. Average
should be,
mining
right?
difficulty
Everybody's like,
per day.
mine.
Looks like it's taken a little bit of a drop here recently in the past few days, but yeah, I mean, we're still seeing pretty high hash rate.
But I'm surprised, but we didn't even, so with the cubic stuff, we didn't, did we reach a new all-time high? Because it looks like we reached it earlier, right?
Yeah, I mean, it does look like we've put on
When the price was pumping in like a couple of months ago.
Yeah. I mean, Cubic's strategy is not to bring new mining online. It's to leech off of existing mining.
No, I get that. It's to bring miners into their pools, but we're also at the same time we're telling everybody, mine. If you haven't mined before, now's the time. Like you would think I would hopefully see an effect there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, it does look like we have seen an effect. We have moved up in hash rate. It hasn't been huge, but we have moved up, a little bit.